Here I'm going to demonstrate how I would explain this exercise to a student. So this is exercise 9.3, working with multiple interfaces. So at this point, I would assume that the student likely understands what an interface is if they've gotten to this point in the assignment. But obviously, if they're not sure, I'd be willing to explain again. So let's go to the first problem. It talks about how a child interface will inherit the parent interface's method declarations. We see that right here. And then it asks about what methods the high yield savings account will implement to compile. So let's look at the class declaration for the high yield savings account. We see here that it implements the high interest account interface. So we want to look specifically at that code. So looking up at the top, we see public interface high interest account extends account. We don't have any code for account here, so we're going to assume that everything within high interest account, that's all we need to look at. We see here that it has only one method that needs to be implemented, the withdraw method, with one single parameter, which is double amount. So a child interface, as it says in part A, needs to inherit all of the parent interface's method declarations, and there's only one here. So high yield savings account must implement the withdraw method with double amount as its single parameter. So that's it for that first part. Now the second part says a class can also implement several interfaces to combine multiple capabilities. Now we're looking at the hybrid account class, which implements two different interfaces, the high interest account interface and the overdraft account interface. So from the previous example, we know that we're going to have to look at two different interfaces and then implement all of the methods in all of those interfaces. So in the first one, like we had before, we have the withdraw with the single parameter amount. So let's put that down just so that we don't forget. And now let's look at the overdraft account, the interface for that one. Now we see here we also have another method called withdraw with the same return type, void, and the same parameter, double amount. So in fact, we aren't going to need to implement another one because it has the exact same method signature. Let's also add void here just so that we are keeping track of the return type. So now we see that our two methods actually have the exact same method signature, so we're only going to implement it once. So our hybrid account is going to have one single method to implement. Now let's look at our third problem. Notice the hybrid account implements interfaces that have both the method signature void withdraw double amount. Will this cause an issue at compile time level? If not, might this cause issues from a different perspective? Now let's think about compile time. What our compiler is going to look for is, did we actually implement the methods from the interface? Now it's going to look at high interest account. High interest account wants us to implement the withdraw method with double amount. Yep, we implemented that. Now let's look at overdraft account. Same thing, void withdraw with the parameter double amount. We also implemented that because it's the exact same method signature. So no, this is not going to create an issue at the compile time level. However, now it asks, will this cause issues from a different perspective? So now is when we have to look at what our method actually does. So let's look at the high interest account. It says withdraws money from the account, requires that the withdrawing amount will not reduce the balance to below $1,000. So that's really important. When you withdraw from the high interest account, your value will never dip below $1,000. Now let's look at the overdraft account method specifications. It says withdraws money from the account, allowing the balance to go into overdraft, i.e. below zero. So that's our crucial difference here. High interest account, our withdraw method doesn't let the balance go below 1,000. But the overdraft account withdraw method makes it so that we can dip our balance below zero. So that's a crucial difference in specifications. So there actually might be an issue there because our client isn't actually going to know what the method's going to do. Because they might expect one thing from the high interest account or from the overdraft account, but they won't be able to get it because by fulfilling the invariant for the withdraw method in overdraft account, we actually are going to violate the invariant for the high interest account. So yes, this will cause an issue. Once again, this issue is because by maybe allowing one invariant to be satisfied, we actually violate another one. And at this point, I would ask the student if they have any questions, and if not, I would tell them great job.